Hey everybody, so I'm just really been pondering a lot. It's interesting to me that we're watching this seemingly culture war take place right in front of our face. I was talking to my mother-in-law this morning. She was talking about this memorial that's being put up in our town. I was talking about equality. Equality, equity, homogeny. I don't think those are the aim. I don't think that people really want equity. I don't think that people really want equality either. I think what is really wanted is assimilation. But I don't think that assimilation originates from those who are screaming equity and equality. I think there's some puppet masters. Because every time somebody gets close or too close to truth or being willing to say what is true about the power plays going on, they either get canceled or they get deplatformed. I find it interesting that all of those things predominantly happen in the metaverse, the World Wide Web. And I find it really interesting that if somebody says, "Ooh, they got canceled," or they're gonna get canceled, and especially if they are a prominent voice. And what I mean by a prominent voice is that if they are a movie star who has gone woke, right? That maybe 2 years ago, or either rather, I'll say it like this: 6 months to 5 years ago, they weren't woke at all, but all of a sudden their resume changed to woke to scoop up some of the pie that has been offered by those who are assimilating ideology. Look at this. We got this battle cry that really would go like this. It would be oppress the oppressor. That is the essential battle cry. Oppress the oppressor. And what's really nefarious about that idea is in order to gain a semblance or a type of freedom, you have to become the oppressor. And that's backwards. Because then you're just playing this game of like this idea of, well, my oppression could be better than yours and your oppression is worse than mine, but I'm going to show you by oppressing you, but still not be free. that tit for tat mentality that doesn't go anywhere other than to death. I'm looking around, and it's so sad, right? All these commercials that have become woke, like, and I'm just going to say it as it is, that are representing LGBTQ, PLMNOP, plus two, spirit, whatever else, right? Most of these people, they've been just given a script, man. Half of them really don't believe what they're saying. They believe it for the character they have to play because their character brings in a cash flow. But the trick ends up being that the viewer believes that's really what should be happening. All the while, not really paying attention to what's happening, or hardly questioning why things are being presented the way that they are being presented. We don't want equality, don't want equity, homogeny. We want assimilation. That's what's being said. That's the message. Assimilate or else. It's like I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and it's funny, right? Because like I grew up, me personally, in an environment that I didn't really understand until I got older, was very chaotic. It was very anxiety inducing. It was not the safest environment. And once I was able to grab some tools that helped me to separate two realities, the one I live in right now currently, as well as the one I grew up in, and see it for what it was. That aspect of fear that was brought about by the chaos no longer had this grip on me, right? Because now I see it for what it is. So anytime somebody comes up and was like, for whatever reason, you should be afraid of what's happening, or you should be afraid of what they said or what they could do. And I'm like, look, I don't know. I refuse to be afraid. I refuse to be afraid of another person. I told him like this. I said, it's like a snake, right? I'm not afraid of the snake, per se, right? I don't like snakes necessarily. They're like, some of them are really pretty and beautiful creatures. But you present me with a venomous snake, the snake is not the problem. The venom that the snake carries is the problem, because that is what can kill me. It's the same thing with people. What makes somebody dangerous is the ideas that drive their life. I don't have to be afraid of a person. I don't have to personify an idea on them. For instance, Republican, Democrat. I don't have to personify that idea upon a person. I have to look and see what drives their life. What are the ideas that they live by? What is their creed? What is that? And when I understand what it is, then I make a judgment of, is that person someone that is worth following? Is that somebody that shouldn't be followed? Is it somebody I should take very particular view of because they carry death with them like a venomous snake? I have to be afraid, and I refuse. Like, I live in California, man. I'm from Alaska, so I mean, like, it's funny to me, like, most Californians that I've seen and conversations that I've had, all of them have said, we have been taught to fear. We have been taught to follow the narrative or else. It's like when Larry Elder ran for governor to unseat Gavin, right? And honestly, if they were wise, they would have said, yeah, this Gavin got to go. Like, I think he has horrible ideas. I think that he's just playing the political game, right? So Gavin doesn't get unseated, but what Gavin does do is he tightens the noose up on people. And people's situations get worse. And then what ends up happening is both Gavin as well as his buddies start saying, well, it's the other party's fault why you're suffering. Look at them, look at them, look at them. It's the other party. Look at those people. It's their fault. He never says, and people never really talk about, look at the ideas that are leading him and his policies that he has created. Are those really good? Do those bring wealth? Do those bring healthy communities? They don't. But there's some stuff that I'm just that person. I'm not a conformist. I want to understand things. But the people I've talked to are like, yeah, man, we've just been taught to do this. We've, been shown that if we don't, we're going to pay a price for it. It's like, dang. And that's sad to me. That's not freedom. It's not freedom. Like, just looking around, all this free stuff that's just been handed out left and right. You don't think people are being bought off? Come on, man. Being bought off for some free stuff that ain't gonna mean a dang thing in 2 to 5 years. And we could be looking behind us thinking like, I was promised more free stuff. I was promised that this free stuff was going to change my life. I was promised that this king or queen, this pseudo king or queen, was going to make sure that everything was good, and it's not. Because they're power hungry. They don't want your equality. They don't want your equity. They want your assimilation. They want you to assimilate so bad because if you realize that you're an individual who can think for yourself, and that you're an American, and that you're in the freest land in the world, and you can, just like I can, they realize that they'll be in big trouble. Because a handful of people will call their bluff. But no, we're not following that. I'm an American. And you've been doing us dirty. They don't want equality. They don't want equity. It's an idea of how to treat people. If you don't learn that as a kid growing up, there's something wrong with our communities, and we ought to actually just do those basic things. Basic. Not what spirit creature you are, not what you think that you are apart from your original birth order, biology. But how about we just grow up, treat each other well? You got ideas, I got ideas. You're not going to offend me by what you say. Your ideas are not evil or dangerous. They cannot harm me. There's no need for me to be afraid. Come on. They don't want equity. They don't want equality. They want assimilation. Think about it.